Let's go to break. We got Scott Maxwell from Wounded Warriors Canada coming up next. I'm really looking forward to this. We'll catch up with him in just a moment here, right after the news with Kimberly Molina on the Ultimate Hockey Show on 1310 News. Welcome back, everybody. Second half of the first hour here, Ultimate Hockey Show on 1310 News. Well, we've touched on this now for a few weeks, and it's really gained some traction on social media. We're really pleased at the direction it's going, and certainly the early success we've had with our 22 Push-Up Challenge, which essentially is designed to raise some funds for Wounded Warriors Canada and in respect to the military past and present, and we've extended that to first responders suffering from PTSD. And I'm really pleased right now to welcome the Executive Director of Wounded Warriors Canada to the show, Scott Maxwell. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to have you, Scott. It really is. It's a pleasure. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about Wounded Warriors Canada, the origin of it, and your role in as an executive director. What exactly does that entail?
Yeah, sure. So the charity started in 2006 as a result of a suicide bicycle bomber in Afghanistan that killed a group of Canadians and left one sapper, Mike McTagg, injured and fearing for his life. And subsequently, as a result of that experience, the Padre, the chaplain, the assisting officer went overseas to support Mike, and he ended up making a full recovery and transition well in the next chapter of his life. And with that, Wounded Warriors Canada started out as a sapper Mike McTagg Wounded Warrior Fund, and since over the last incredibly, I guess, 10 years now, really grown into the nation's leader in funding and delivering mental health programs for our ill and injured senior armed forces members, veterans, and first responders. So that's really the quick genesis of the last 10 years. But really in 2013, we made a shift as an organization to focus on a new gap that we had identified and that was in need of support in Canada for our veterans, and that was mental health and particularly post-traumatic stress disorder. So the last 2.5 to 3 years has been really our big change in terms of our ability to make an impact in Canada.
Wow, well, that's a great, certainly a great infrastructure. How that, with unfortunate circumstances leading to it, but what a great thing to come out of it. At the very least, I would say, Scott.
Well, it is. It's about it's a success story born out of a tragic incident. And in terms of my role as executive director, we look for partnerships across the country as a privately funded charity that receives no public financing. It's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's outstanding because we can be reflexive and adaptive to the changing demands facing our veterans and their families and first responders in Canada. But on the other side of the coin, of course, is we have to raise the money every 12 months to ensure the programs that we're funding annually are made available year after year, so that no one goes left behind. And that's my role, effectively, is to make garner these partnerships like we have here with the 22 Push-Ups Challenge and so many others across the country to help drive funds and awareness to our cause. So,
can you just be a little more specific? So the funding goes to. So I'm assuming that what PTSD is a form of mental illness, I guess, for lack of a better term. I don't mean to be trite about it, but I'm just trying to. There's be counseling, I'm assuming, and things of this nature, and also, I guess where need be, medical. Is that involved as well?
Yeah, well, it's an operational stress injury. That's what PTSD is, and there's a range of operational stress injuries, and PTSD is one of them. But it is indeed a mental health injury, and so one of the things we identified as we were developing and growing our program development and delivery was that there's no one solution to this issue for anybody. We now fund 15 different programs ranging from supporting homeless veterans to animal-assisted therapy for PTSD to the likes of service dogs and equine, through residence-based programs where the couple is together for a week at a time, tribute to your service events, research. I mean, we really are covering a spectrum of care now that we're quite proud of, and it's making a real difference. So in other words, when someone used to come to Wounded Warriors Canada, let's say they would graduate a program, and that would kind of be it, because we didn't have that much to offer beyond comparatively what we're able to offer now. Now what we're seeing with our spectrum of care is we're seeing someone who has benefited by receiving a service dog for PTSD move on to some of our couples-based programs and family-based programs, and then now in a place to get out of the house and feel comfortable to do so, taking their spouse or partner or caregiver with them along the way in their path to wellness. So we've really we really hit our stride, and that's thanks to the thousands of Canadians and Canadian businesses and associations that continue to put their trust behind Wounded Warriors Canada.
Awesome. Well, that's where, we're one of them now. 22pushups.ca, and our little quartet that kicked this off a few weeks ago, and then formally 8 days ago. We wanted to talk to you about that, Scott, and our involvement with it. And we have a goal, modest as it is, $22,000 by December 22nd. What's your thoughts on our little offering here?
Well, it's huge. It's not small at all. It's tremendous. I mean, the average donation to Wounded Warriors Canada, when it's broken down over the course of the year, is $97. And that's really the gist of it. As a grassroots-funded charity, this is a huge partnership. And further, it's not about fundraising first and foremost. At the end of the day, it's about awareness to drive fundraising. And that's
right.
That is best embodied, really, through campaigns like the 22 Push-Ups Challenge, where people are not just, they're doing something themselves, personally becoming part of a campaign, and then secondarily making a donation to the cause. So awareness about this, making people feel comfortable who are suffering to come forward, knowing that the community, their province, their town, their country cares about them and wants to help them in their time of need. So this is a tremendous campaign. Social media is peer-to-peer fundraising is such the way of the future. It's happening now, and this is what's making these campaigns so successful, as it has been in the United States, transferable now here to Canada. So Thank you so much for your team's effort. And we're looking forward to helping you push this out across the country as best we can. Yeah, no,
that's awesome, Scott, and we are as well. We have been really enamored with just the last 72 hours in particular have been phenomenal, and it seems to be gaining some traction. Whether it gets to ALS status or not, who knows? But like you said, the awareness. I'm even thinking now, just listening to you talk, Scott, and I know somebody, okay? He's on disability leave, if you will, for PTSD. He was a paramedic, 25 years on the job. He's having a tough go. And, I'm not saying, it's not about mentioning names, but it's about doing it for awareness as well for the challenges. This is a personal friend of mine, and I bet you many listening right now probably know somebody that's suffering.
Absolutely, and especially now that we've been able to expand our ability, our scope and scale to help to first responders for the first time, started last year, and we'll be more aggressive in supporting that population this year moving forward. And as we've done so, and that's been a consequence as through our program development and delivery, we're running into more and more first responders, their family members, their friends, like you just mentioned, that are asking. They're saying, "Hey, I know whomever and who's suffering. Is there any way they can get into your programs?" And it was just simply too unreasonable to not make that possible. So yes, people are touched by this issue, if not personally, directly through their networks and friends and family across the country, coast to coast to coast. And that's I think that's in part why campaigns like this will be so successful, because the reach and how many people and families this issue touches in Canada is staggering.
And just a real layman question or point of fact, Scott, our webpage, 22pushups.ca, has a straightforward donation button, if you will. You follow the prompts and you punch in a credit card number and you can donate. We hope people can make the minimum $22 donation if they're inclined. If they want to follow suit, do the push-ups, post a video, that's great, but make a donation. That was strategically set up to go directly to you guys, correct?
That's right. It's processed through our system, our online donation system, which is outstanding. It goes right into the general fund, whereby we're able to allocate the funds to a program. Initially, you guys had thought about the COPE program or anything else. It goes in. It's going to be reinvested to the front line for those in need.
Yeah. You know what? That's probably the thing. I mean, I'm so jazzed about all this anyway. And you're right. It's amazing. You really can almost take a little license yourself on it and say, I'm doing at least a little something. Yeah,
they should. Everyone should feel that way. I mean, these funds do reach people. We wouldn't exist as a charity if it wasn't for that fact. And that's just that's just the straightforward response to that. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, privately funded charity, we exist on the backs of third-party giving and individual donations and campaigns like this. So by your awareness, anyone that wants to jump on board and give us a hand here will be making a difference in the lives of an ill and injured veteran, first responder, and a family member somewhere in Canada. And that is a wonderful thing. It really is.
Love it. Scott, where are you from? Where are you from originally?
I live in Whitby, Ontario.
Oh, Were you born and raised there?
I was born in Bowmanville and got involved, having never served myself, got involved. Really, the Afghanistan campaign hit me really hard one morning in June in 2007 when a high school friend of mine, I woke up to have breakfast to realize, turned on the TV, and there was his picture on television. He was killed in Afghanistan. And
yeah.
Small town Bowmanville, Ontario meets real world Afghanistan war. It was just an experience I'll never forget. And subsequently, personally drove me to want to do more. I just thought we needed to know a lot more about what we were doing in Afghanistan, we need to know way more and educate the population way more about our proud military history and what our men and women in uniform are doing around the globe today. And that's kind of been my push to get involved with this in 2013 when I started.
And now you're living in Whitby, which is a former home of the Whitby Dunlops, the world champions of Canada.
Absolutely. Yeah, big lacrosse, big hockey town.
Yeah.
And, the likes of Adam Foote, there's a whole bunch, and James Neal playing for the Predators.
Yeah.
Now. I mean, I ran into him just the other day and talked to him. He expressed interest to get involved. And hockey really is there's such a parallel in terms of support and cross overlap between the support that hockey has amongst our troops and the support our hockey players have for our troops. It's a real good partnership, and why I'm especially proud to be on your show.
Well, you know what, Scott? I'm proud to have you. I really am. And we're so proud to be affiliated with you. We're going to try bust our butts literally here and crank some push-ups. More importantly, make those donations. Folks, 22pushups.ca. It's a direct link to Wounded Warriors Canada. Scott Maxwell is the executive director. Scott, thank you so much for a few minutes this morning. Maybe before Christmas, we'll bring you back on and we'll see how we made out.
I'll be on any time you want to talk hockey shop, or you want to talk obviously this issue. I'll join any time. Awesome, Scott. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the long weekend. I appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for your support of the cause. Okay. Bye-bye. There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Scott Maxwell, the executive director of hockey, of Wounded Warriors Canada.